Welcome to English Vertex Podcast.
Improve your vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation with our engaging lessons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simple English Talks. I'm Emily, and I'm so happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Daniel. Hey. It's been a great week, and I'm excited for today's episode.
Me too. Actually, before we start, I have to tell you something funny. I was texting my sister yesterday, and every single message I sent was like 3 words long. I'm home now. Dinner is ready. Call me later.
Sounds like me talking to my landlord.
Right? But then I thought, wait a second. This is exactly what happens to English learners too. Short, choppy sentences everywhere.
Oh, I know this problem so well. Today, we're talking about something that a lot of learners ask us about: how to build long sentences in English.
Yes, and by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to take 2, 3, or even 4 short sentences and connect them into one smooth, natural-sounding sentence.
You'll also learn the connecting words native speakers use every single day, and how to avoid the biggest mistakes learners make when they try this.
So here's a question for you before we jump in. Do you usually speak in short sentences, or do you try to make longer ones? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button on Simple English Talks so you never miss an episode.
All right, Daniel, I think it's time.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Why do short sentences feel a little robotic?
Great question. Think about it this way. If I said, I woke up, I made coffee, I checked my phone, I left the house. That's 4 separate sentences, and it sounds kind of like a list, right?
Totally. It sounds like a report, not a conversation.
Exactly. But a native speaker would probably say something like, I woke up, made coffee, checked my phone, and left the house. One flowing sentence instead of 4 choppy ones.
And the secret tool that makes this happen is something called a conjunction. Don't worry about the grammar term. Just think of conjunctions as connector words. They're like glue that sticks 2 ideas together.
The most common ones are and, but, or, so, and because. Let's go through some examples.
Number 1, I was tired. I still went to the gym. Becomes, I was tired, but I still went to the gym. Number 2, she finished her work. She left the office. Becomes, she finished her work, so she left the office. Number 3, we can watch a movie. We can go for a walk. Becomes, we can watch a movie, or we can go for a walk.
Number 4, he didn't call me. He was busy. Becomes, he didn't call me because he was busy.
Number 5, and this one's my favorite. I love coffee. I love tea. Becomes, I love both coffee and tea.
See how each pair of short sentences turns into one longer, smoother sentence? That's really all long sentence building is at the start.
And here's something personal. When I first learned this, I used to make a game out of it. I'd take 2 short thoughts in my head and try to connect them out loud before I finished my coffee in the morning.
That's such a good habit. Okay, quick question for you listening right now. Can you connect these 2 sentences? It was raining. I forgot my umbrella. Try it out loud.
Take a second. Did you say, it was raining, but I forgot my umbrella? Or maybe, it was raining, so I got wet because I forgot my umbrella. Both work.
Now, let's talk about the negative side for a second, because this trips people up. When you use but, the second part often shows a contrast, something unexpected.
Right. So you wouldn't say, I was hungry, but I ate lunch. That doesn't make sense, because eating lunch is exactly what you'd expect when you're hungry. You'd say, I was hungry, but I didn't have time to eat. Now there's a real contrast. Good catch. So remember, But connects two ideas that go against each other, while and so connect ideas that flow naturally together.
Can you think of your own example with but right now? Try building one in your head.
I'll give you mine. I wanted to sleep in, but my alarm had other plans.
Nice one. Okay, let's quickly review. We learned that short sentences can feel choppy, and connector words like and, but, or, so, and because help us build longer, smoother sentences that sound natural.
We also practiced turning short sentence pairs into one connected sentence, and we looked at how but specifically shows contrast.
Great foundation. Now let's move on to something a little more advanced.
So now that we've got the basic connectors down, let's build on that. There's another powerful tool for making longer sentences, and it's called a relative clause.
Ooh, relative clauses. This sounds fancy, but I promise it's simple. A relative clause just adds extra information about a noun using words like who, which, that, or where.
Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you're describing your coworker. You might say, my coworker is from Chicago. My coworker helped me finish the project.
Two separate sentences, both about the same person. With a relative clause, you can combine them. My coworker, who is from Chicago, helped me finish the project.
See how who is from Chicago got tucked right into the middle of the sentence? That's the magic of relative clauses. They let you add detail without starting a brand new sentence. Let's do a dialogue example. Imagine Emily and I are talking about a restaurant. Sure, I'll start. Hey Daniel, remember that restaurant? It's the one that we went to last month.
Oh, yeah. The restaurant that we went to last month had amazing pasta.
See that? That we went to last month is a relative clause describing the restaurant, and it lets us skip repeating the restaurant over and over.
Now let's talk about formal versus informal usage here, because this matters a lot in real conversation.
In casual everyday speech, people often drop the word that. So instead of saying, the book that I read was amazing, you might just say, the book I read was amazing.
But in more formal writing, like an email to your boss or a school essay, it's better to keep that or which in the sentence for clarity.
Good tip. Let's do a quick practice activity. I'll say two short sentences, and Daniel, you combine them using a relative clause.
I'm ready. Go for it.
I met a woman yesterday. The woman used to be a professional dancer.
I met a woman yesterday who used to be a professional dancer.
Easy. We learned that relative clauses, using who, which, or that, let us add extra information about a noun inside the same sentence, instead of creating a new one.
We also learned that is often dropped in casual speech, but it's usually kept in formal writing. Great work, everyone. Let's move to our third and final teaching section.
All right, for our third technique, let's talk about something we use constantly in daily life, combining sentences with time and reason words.
These are words like when, while, after, before, since, and although. They help us show the relationship between two events or ideas.
Let's start with a super common, everyday scenario. Imagine you're telling a friend about your morning. I was making breakfast, my phone rang.
With the time connector, that becomes while I was making breakfast, my phone rang. Now we know exactly when the phone rang in relation to the breakfast.
Here's another one. I finished my homework, I watched TV. Becomes after I finished my homework, I watched TV. And here's a really useful one for polite conversation. Although I was tired, I stayed to help my friend move. This shows a contrast, similar to but it sounds a little more polished and natural in spoken English. That's a great point about tone. Although tends to sound a bit smoother and more thoughtful than but, especially at the beginning of a sentence.
Exactly. And when you're speaking with someone you don't know well, or in a slightly more professional setting,
using although can make you sound more careful and polite.
Let's talk delivery for a second, too. When you say a longer sentence like this out loud, remember to pause slightly after the first part. While I was making breakfast, pause, my phone rang. That little pause helps the listener follow along.
Great tip. Rhythm really matters in spoken English, not just the words themselves.
Let's do a mini practice together. I'll give a short scenario, and Daniel, you respond using a time or reason connector.
Let's do it.
You were driving. You saw an old friend on the street.
While I was driving, I saw an old friend on the street. How was that?
Perfect. Now you try one on me. Give me 2 short sentences.
Okay. You lost your keys. You were leaving for work.
Since I was leaving for work, I realized I'd lost my keys. Or maybe before I left for work, I lost my keys. Both work depending on the exact meaning.
Nicely done. Listeners, try saying your own sentence out loud right now using one of these words. When, while, after, before, since, or although. Speaking it out loud, even alone in your room, really helps it stick. It really does. Okay, let's wrap up this section with a quick structural review. We covered 5 key connector words: when, while, after, before, since, and although. Each one shows a different relationship in time or contrast between 2 ideas, and combining them lets you build longer, richer sentences naturally.
Okay, it's time for one of our favorite parts of the show, common mistakes. And don't worry, we make plenty of these too.
Oh, definitely. I actually still catch myself making mistake number 1 sometimes. So let's start there. Mistake 1, using too many connectors in one sentence.
This is when learners get excited about connecting sentences and end up with something like, I was tired, but I went to the gym and I met my friend, so we had dinner and then we watched a movie. That sentence just keeps going and going. It becomes confusing because there are too many ideas packed together without a natural break. The fix is simple. Break it into 2 shorter, longer sentences instead of one giant one. I was tired, but I went to the gym and met my friend. So we had dinner and then we watched a movie. Much easier to follow. Mistake 2, forgetting the comma before but, so, and or when connecting 2 full sentences. This one's small, but it really matters, especially in writing. I wanted to go, but I was too tired should actually be, I wanted to go, but I was too tired. The comma gives the reader a little breathing room.
Mistake 3, and this is a big one, using which for people instead of who. Learners often say, the man which called me was very polite.
That should be the man who called me was very polite. Remember, who is for people, which is for things.
Why does this happen so often? Honestly, in some languages, there's only one word for both, so learners naturally translate it directly. It's a totally understandable mistake.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we're here, to help you notice these little differences. Mistake 4, overusing although and but together in the same sentence.
Like saying, although I was tired, but I stayed anyway. In English, you only need one of them, not both. Choose, although I was tired, I stayed anyway. Or, I was tired, but I stayed anyway.
I'll admit, I did this one myself for years without even noticing. It felt natural because in some languages that pattern is normal.
See? Even hosts make mistakes. The good news is, once someone points it out, it's really easy to fix and remember forever.
Let's do a quick practice for each mistake. I'll say an incorrect sentence and Daniel will correct it.
Ready.
I called her, but she didn't answer.
I called her, but she didn't answer.
Added the comma. The woman which lives next door is really friendly. The woman who lives next door is really friendly. Fix the who which mix-up. Perfect.
Remember, everyone, mistakes are a totally normal part of learning. Every single fluent speaker made these exact mistakes at some point.
100%.
Don't let the fear of a mistake stop you from practicing long sentences out loud. The more you try, the more natural it becomes. So to wrap up this section, watch out for stacking too many connectors, forgetting commas, mixing up who and which, and doubling up contrast words like although and but. Keep it simple, keep practicing, and you'll get there. Let's move on to some interactive practice. All right, everyone, it's time for our favorite segment, Choose the Correct Sentence. We're going to give you two options, and you decide which one sounds more natural.
Let's start with number 1. Option A, the book which I bought yesterday is amazing. Option B, the book that I bought yesterday is amazing. In casual, everyday conversation, option B sounds more natural, which tends to appear more in formal or written English.
Number 2, option A, I was hungry, so I ate a sandwich. Option B, I was hungry, but I ate a sandwich. Option A is correct here, because eating when you're hungry is the expected result, not a contrast. Number 3, option A, although it was raining, we went for a walk. Option B, although it was raining, but we went for a walk. Option A, remember mistake number 4 from earlier? Never double up although with but. Number 4, option A, my brother who lives in Texas is visiting next week. Option B, my brother, which lives in Texas, is visiting next week.
Option A, since who is for people.
Number 5, a slightly trickier one. Option A, while I was cooking dinner, I burned my hand. Option B, while I was cooking dinner, I burned my hand.
Option B, when the time clause comes first in the sentence, we usually add a comma before the main clause.
And here's a bonus one, number 6. Option A, I finished the report and I sent it to my manager. Option B, I finished the report and I sent it to my manager.
Both are commonly seen, but option B, with the comma, follows the cleaner, more standard punctuation rule when joining two full sentences.
Great job if you got those right. And if you didn't, that's totally okay too. That's exactly why we practice.
Now here's your challenge. Pick one connector we talked about today. Could be but, who, while, or although, and create your own original sentence with it. Say it out loud right now, even if no one's listening but you. Speaking it out loud builds real muscle memory for your mouth and your brain. And remember, the goal here isn't a perfect grammar score. The goal is real, natural conversation. Exactly. Native speakers make mistakes too. What matters most is that you're communicating your ideas clearly and confidently.
Wow, what an episode!
We covered so much today, and I feel like my brain is buzzing with connector words now. Same here. Let's do a quick recap of everything we learned. First, we talked about basic connectors like and, but, so, or, and because, which link two short sentences into one smoother sentence. Second, we explored relative clauses using who, which, and that, which let us add extra detail about a person or thing without starting a new sentence. And third, we practiced time and reason connectors, like when, while, after, before, since, and although, which show how two events or ideas relate to each other. If you take just one thing away from today, let it be this. You don't need to memorize complicated grammar rules to sound more fluent. You just need a handful of connector words and the confidence to practice them out loud.
So here's a question to reflect on. Which connector word do you think you'll use the most this week? Who, but, while, or maybe although?
Let us know in the comments. And while you're there, make sure to like this episode, share it with a friend who's learning English, and subscribe to Simple English Talks so you never miss